What is up, YouTube? And audio and audio listeners, we have not forgotten about you. We love you guys. Thank you guys for watching this episode. It's cool to have you back for another Wednesday. And yeah, take how you guys doing? It's good. That's nice. Anyways, thank you guys for checking this out. It's for the I don't know what episode it is. I don't keep track of the amount. I think it's like the 63rd of this episode of the show. But today's interview is with Max Moosman. If you've been keeping track and you watch Harper Eggy, wait, not Harper Eggy. That's a different complete interview. If you watch Harper the Fox or the Cops versus Whores, both of them down in the description, guys. But if you have watched them, you probably know who Max Moosman is. I interviewed Max Moosman, who is the husband of Harper the Fox, and he's gonna tell me about his life and the journey he's been through. He's gonna tell me about some of this about the almost suicide, the depression he had in his life, and just some funny and college stuff. If you like this, if you like this show, please subscribe. If you never knew in the first place, I'm trying to get Will Wood on. The manager said you can find it right there down below. But the manager said if we can get to 1,000 subscribers, there's a good chance he could actually come on. But we can't do that if you guys don't subscribe. As well, like I tell you, like. Anyways, so chop, let's get to the interview, and I hope to see you guys in the end. It's not for the end, I just hope to see you guys. Anyways, subscribe. I said subscribe. Later! Thanks, man. Thanks again for coming on. It was cool having you last time, so I figured why not again.
I'm excited to be here, man. I'm excited to catch up with you and do it one-on-one.
Yeah. For some reason, I don't know if it's your beard or something, but you look different than last time. Maybe you were wearing glasses. Can't remember, though.
Yeah, I got my glasses, but this thing's like reflecting so much in them that I decided to put it here. I got a hat on, too, I guess.
Yeah. Well, and my first question normally is just, what was it like growing up? You said your dad wasn't really in the picture. You got a stepdad kind of like around maybe the beginning, but later. What was your childhood like?
Yeah, so my parents were married when I was conceived, and then by the time I was born, my dad left. So yeah, I didn't know him at all. I guess they were going through divorce when I was a baby, and so I lived with my grandmother and my mom and some cousins on and off, and my aunt on and off. She had a big drug problem, so she was kind of there sometimes not. And then I would kind of get passed around a little bit. Eventually with daycare, I think when my mom got settled with the job, but family members, everyone kind of pitched in to take care of me. And that went on until I was like 5. And then when I was 6, I was adopted. My mom hooked up with my stepdad when I was like 5, and then she got pregnant, and so they got married. And when I was like 6, we moved in full time there, and I was adopted.
What do you mean adopted?
Oh, so yeah, my father gave up all his rights, and so my stepdad adopted me, so he became my
okay.
father.
I was thinking, I was confused what you meant by that, because like I would understand what you meant, like if your parents like they gave you up or something like that, but like you said like your mom and like I was just confused for a second how that would all work.
Yeah, so I was raised by my birth mother, but you don't have to be adopted by both parents. You can be adopted by one parent. So he became my legal father.
That happened to my mom, so I understand what you're talking about.
Well, okay. Yeah, so we were pretty poor when I was real little. My stepdad had a better job, so it was a big lifestyle change. We went sort of from living in this house with everybody coming in and out and everything like that and scraping things together to, for a short while, we lived in a condo that my stepdad owned. And then we moved into like a great big house in like a suburban area. So that was a big change. And then they had 3 kids eventually. So I was a lot older than my siblings, but I had some siblings, but it was a weird thing. Like my mother and all of her siblings except one all kind of did the same thing. They had one kid in a bad relationship that kind of like went apart, and then they had many years, and then they started having another family. So there was like this group of cousins who were like in many ways like more like my siblings, because we were all like the one child from the from like the like oopsie fuck relationship earlier, and then we all had like siblings that came like way later than us, but we were all raised together. And then there's this giant gap, and then everyone had like their permanent family after that.
So kind of like a clan of accident kids, basically.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Oh no, I was just gonna say, like, your household, like, was it good? Because like, you seem like you had a decent like life with your mom and like your stepdad. Like, other than your dad leaving, like, you guys seem like you had a decent, along with like, what was that like for you?
Yeah, I think I remember being pretty happy when I was younger. I don't speak to anybody in my family now, so it's a complicated thing for me, I guess. They took good care of me. I never wanted for anything, and I think they did their absolute best. So yeah, I don't harbor any ill will toward anybody in my family. I think I try to empathize with my mom, especially now that I'm a parent. I did meet my biological father eventually, and I look like him, and I sound like him, and I move like him. And the idea of having somebody in your house who looks just like your worst relationship and the person you hate the most in the world, like, must be hard. That must be a tricky fucking thing to go through. And for my stepdad too, I think like having, somebody else's kid and in there, and like we never clicked, we never connected. We were just like really at odds with each other. And so, I think sort of economically the house was always good, and I had access to a lot of things, and they clearly cared enough to like put me through school and put, clothes on my back and put food in my belly and try to give me opportunities. But my house was just kind of like always full of like just screaming and yelling and fighting and just kind of like nonstop vibe, which, yeah, it's just not the life I want to live or do. And it's a weird thing, because I noticed it again with all my cousins too, that like that was kind of the relationship we all had with our parents. And things were much calmer with the settled family, with like I think my siblings' relationship with my parents is like completely different. They grew up in a completely different household. They grew up with completely different parents than I grew up with, which makes sense to me, because like me in my 20s and me now in my early 40s, it's like a different guy.
You're 40? I thought you were like 32 or something like that.
No, I'm on my way to 41.
Oh, damn. You don't look 40, so congrats on that, I guess.
Well, thank you, I guess. Give me a few more years with kids and I'll look my age.
I hit the lottery jackpot genetics, I guess, since I look 12, so.
Yeah. Well, you're 18 now, is that right?
Yeah, I turned 18 in May.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah, fight for the world now. Yeah. But if I can ask, like you said, kind of like with the cousin siblings, kind of like you all got along, but you said you don't talk to your family. Do you talk to them still? Or what? Can I ask, why do you not talk to them anymore?
Yeah. So why don't I talk to them anymore? I'd say mostly I feel like through my 20s, I really fucked up my life. Like I became a really severe alcoholic. I smoked so much weed, and for me, that was a really bad decision. I basically went insane. And the family I grew up with and the friends I have, drinking and drugging is just kind of a big part of that. And also like being very like negative is a big part of that whole group. And for me, I think it just came down, it started as like a very short, like I'm going to take a few weeks and just like try to be alone and try to like take responsibility for myself. And like, I was like leaning on people in really bad ways. I was like taking money from people. I was just becoming this person I hated. And so it became this thing of like, I'm going to take a few weeks. And then a few weeks turned into a few months turned into a few years. And the further distance I got, the more I was like putting my life together and put myself together. And at some point it just became this thing of like, I don't know. I just didn't feel like I had a place, and I didn't fit. And it felt like a mixture of things of like, I didn't want to go back to anybody and give them the impression that I might be around and like be available again, because I didn't know, if that was going to be the true or something I was willing to do. And as it came, I just sort of like, I clean slated my whole life. That seemed to just be working. And now like I have a family of my own and stuff, like all of it just seems like downside risk to sort of like reach back out and be involved. And yeah, and it's not something I want to like risk anything for. I think I'm making a lot better decisions. I think I'm making a lot better choices. I like who I am. Like I said, I wish none of them any ill will. At this point, I have like zero problem with any of them. I hope they're all doing great. I hope they're all like having great lives. I don't see myself as a part of that anymore. And I'm not sure that I could like be involved with all of them and not like be a sort of like angry, bitter alcoholic.
Kind of go back to your stepfather. Do you think like you took like the role, like, yeah, because your dad wasn't there? Do you think he kind of took over the role, or was it mainly just like it was all on you basically?
Being my dad, he tried. I called him dad. You know, they sort of enforced that when I was young, and I called him dad. We were at odds like for as long as I can remember. Like we just never liked each other. Like from the jump, you know, maybe there was like a small like honeymoon period when I was like 5, but now that I have a 4-year-old, like you can pretty much like steer how they feel about things. If you are really determined to like make them repeat after you and tell them that they like something, even if they don't or whatever, you can really kind of enforce that if you want to. But yeah, like him and I, like if we were talking, we were fighting, I could probably count on one hand like the number of like things we did together. I think for his kids, like when I take a step back, I think he was a pretty great father to them. Like he had a pill problem. He was like addicted to pain pills, which I didn't really know about until I was an adult. But when I found out, like it made sense just from what I saw. But yeah, I think for his family, it was like a normal thing. Just for whatever reason, like yeah, we just never clicked. So you know, he took on the role, but I think my mom also never really let him be fully my father. So I never really had to take the things he said seriously or the things he decided as like the final word, because like my mom was my real parent and he was just sort of like the subordinate, which I don't think is how they parented their other kids. So yeah, I think he tried.
So it was kind of like you were on the same, like your mom was the goal, but you were basically just on separate ends of like where that's at.
Yeah, and it was like a weird sort of vibe. Like from the time I was really young, my mom and the adults in my life would have pretty adult conversations with me. Like I think I was probably like 9 or 10 when my mom started asking me for advice on whether or not she should get a divorce, which when I was a kid seemed natural, but now that I'm an adult, I'm like, what the fuck was that?
When you said something about like wealth, or like it was kind of like you weren't wealthy, but you were, like, what was that?
I think it's comparatively, right? It's all relative.
Yeah,
when you go from like super fucking poor to all of a sudden like you got like nice snacks in the pantry and like you can go on like a vacation once a year and things like that. Like it's like a big swing, and like you live in like a big house in a nice neighborhood. Like when you come from like, you know, you're sharing a bedroom with a bunch of people and all this stuff, like it feels like all of a sudden like you're really rich. Like I would describe it as like he had a government job. He was like an air traffic controller. So it's, you know, middle class, like, you know, like normal family cars, normal vacations, like every few years we could go down to Disney World or whatever. And then other than that, like we do stuff that's like closer and, you know, but we could sign up for sports and, you know, go see movies.
Like, obviously I don't want to ask you what was your income, but like, were you more like middle, upper class? Like what kind of area were you at, you think?
We were living in southern New Hampshire. So like, I'd say like my neighborhood was everything from school teachers, like contractors, other air traffic controllers. We had one dentist in the neighborhood that I know about. So that's income bracket, like good steady jobs with benefits that paid you like more than it cost to live back then.
So you weren't the rich kid, but you were basically making it well. At least you were like living all right for the moment.
Yeah, and again, because the first like several years of my life, I was like old enough to go through this period and remember we couldn't have all that stuff when we couldn't like have like any snack we wanted, or like the fridge is like super full or anything like that, like to go from one to the other, like where, you just kind of like notice the house was the biggest thing, like to go from these tiny spaces. My grandmother's house was like a full house, but there's a lot of people in it.
Yeah.
Like, so to go from like that to like, a great big 3-story house in my child's mind was like, oh my God, like, like this is a mansion. Like, but it's like a 1/4 acre property, maybe a 3,000 square foot house or something like that. So we're not like rolling in the dough, or
like you stated, it was just basically like kind of just what you're used to. It was kind of like your normal basically for a while, that you didn't have that much money. But like, were you ever ashamed of it, or was it just like, hey, that's life?
ashamed of how much money I had?
Like, let's say these other kids had this kind of thing, and then like, oh, we only had this.
Oh yeah, like no, I felt like I fell right into the average. Most of my friends were poor, like obviously poor, and I've never been one who's like big on stuff. I don't remember a time where I really thought about it much. Like I never particularly cared about what shoes I wear or what shirt. Like if I fit in well enough, I was happy with it. Like it's never been something that really concerned me at all. If I had a bike that allowed me to go out in the woods with my friends and keep up, that was a fine bike. The whatever that thing is where you care about brands and stuff like that, like it's just never
materialism.
Yeah, I remember being obsessed with like becoming rich when I was younger. But
well, yeah,
I don't know
of course,
why,
everybody is.
But I don't know why. I don't know like what I wanted. Other than like the status of like, I don't know, success or something like that. Because like if I had a lot of money all of a sudden, it's hard for me to imagine myself like buying fancy cars or buying, a big fancy house or anything like that. Like at this point in my life, I'd probably just like maybe a shop space and some tools and like some, have more money to like just try projects, start businesses, that kind of thing would be more what I'm interested in. I like experiences. I really love to learn. I really love to delve into new industries, into new skill sets, and I like to get my hands on stuff. So if I had the money, I guess that's what I would be doing. And just to free up my time, like always like to spend more time with my kids and things like that. If you have the money to do it, then you can make that kind of stuff happen.
Obviously, you're mentioning how you're a dad, and how old are they, if I can ask? Like 10 years old, do you think you said last time?
No, my oldest is 4. He just turned 4.
Okay, yeah. I know you had a new one on the way, though.
Yep, 1 month.
Oh.
It'll be here in about a month.
Congrats.
Thanks. Yeah. So yeah, my oldest is 4. My daughter just turned 2, and the new one will be born sometime at the end of November, beginning of December. I would say, being a dad, for all the things I tried to change, and like for quitting drinking and quitting smoking and like distancing myself from like my old connections and family, like all that stuff, nothing made as big a difference as like having kids. I've talked to a lot of the kids, and some of my closest friends have, don't have dads, or had really or don't have moms, or just messed up.
Yeah, of course, people have it worse all the time.
Yeah, but there is something like, I remember when I was a kid, one of the things, I think this came from a really good place. Like my mom and my family would always try to tell me like, you're not missing anything. You're not missing anything. You're not missing anything. And like, I think they were trying to like make me feel like I wasn't disadvantaged, or that like, to make me feel better. But like that always felt wrong and not true. And for my firstborn kid to be a boy was such a blessing, because like 2 things happened. One, it became almost immediately, and as he gets older, clear, like, no, you're missing a lot. Like if you don't have a dad, like if you're a young man without a father, you're missing a lot. Like it's okay, there's nothing you can do about it. It's not your fault, but you're missing a lot. And so for me to like be able to be there as a dad for my son, one, like that kind of like settled that thing as like, okay, no, I'm not crazy. That's correct. And two, like, it just fixed it. Like this, like, you know, I had to wait. My son was born when I was 36. So like I had to wait till I was 36 to feel like I had a real father-son connection. I'm on the other side of it, but like now I have that thing, and it's like the greatest thing in the world. Like it's just sort of like all that kind of background turbulence noise. It feels like they had this like continuous search function running my entire life. And then like he's born, it's like, oh, that's done. It's really beautiful. It's nothing has made it easier to sort of just like, I don't know, just kind of be happy with what I have, live a normal life, feel sort of complete than just like having these kids. I recommend it.
What?
Having kids.
Oh no, I'm not going down that route.
I said the same thing when I was your age, and I'll put a little Max whisper in your brain. It's the best thing ever. Yeah, the opportunity ever. It's the best thing.
I'll hit you up when I'm 36, and I'll let you know if I do or not.
All right. I was a sophomore in high school when 9/11 happened.
15 going 16 probably?
I was 16. I always feel so old explaining this to people who were born after 9/11. It's but it's so you can't say anything that's not cliche, but it changed everything. Like it changed absolutely everything. It's not the same country as it was before 9/11. It's you know, all of a sudden you went from, well, one, there had never been like it had been generations since any kind of attack on anything resembling American soil had happened, right? New York was not that far away from where I lived, all things considered. It's about 220 miles. And we had friends who like lost people in 9/11. Like my parents had friends who lost people in 9/11. And, you know, then a lot of my friends signed up to go off to war, and some family members signed up to go off to war. And so all of a sudden people are like, you know, off in real conflict and coming back, having seen horrific things and gone through all of that. And, you know, and even just things like all of a sudden you're going through, I guess, school shooter drills had already ramped up before 9/11, but then we were doing like nuclear disaster drills, we're doing bomb drills, we're doing like, which I know still happens, but to go from like that's not part of life at all to,
and it's happening like that, it's just all the time.
Yeah, just all of a sudden this and I went to college in New York, so I was in New York City like a year and a half after 9/11. Yeah, so like, you know, yeah, just kind of surrounded by it. Like I said, it was just sort of part of that. My teenage years, like in my small town, like I had a few friends kill themselves, and I had a couple friends die in like car wrecks and other things, and a few teachers die, all in a pretty short amount of time. That was also like encompassed with 9/11. So I don't know. Like for me, at least, I think it contributed to sort of like kind of a nihilistic view of life. Like there's a pointlessness to life. And I got like really into the new atheists and that whole sort of route of, so as a kid, I really had a deep faith in God, and then sort of gave that up, and then had all this sort of death and went down this path of sort of like nothing means anything, which doesn't really lead anywhere good, which is not that surprising if you actually think about it. But thank God, at some point in college, it took a long time for this to like really shake through my psyche, but something stuck with me so much for years and years and years that I've talked about it so much in my life. And like I said, it took a long time for it to really shake through. But I met this kid in college who, I mean, he was quite a bit older than me and still at my college, but he was from Africa. And I think he was caught up in the like Rwandan genocide. He was a refugee. And I had one occasion to sit down with him and have a meal with him. We were just kind of like friends of friends, and we never really talked that much. And he was always such like a jovial guy, like real super happy, smile on his face, just such a happy-go-lucky dude. And I talked to him, and in talking to him, I found out that he had watched both of his parents be killed with a machete. Like, people came to where he lived in the night, and they murdered his parents in front of him. And then he became a child soldier where he had to kill people. And he was like drugged and had to kill people. And then he fled into the desert and near death was found by some aid workers and then was flown. He had brothers that he left behind when he fled. He was flown to England and then eventually made his way to my college through like a sponsorship family. And, you know, I was in this place where I was like, I complained about the pointlessness of life and how mean, fucked up life was and how bad everything was. And I talked to this guy who had gone through this just thing of such horror that I couldn't possibly imagine it, you know, like, and he had a smile on his face. And I think it was like the first time in my life I was like, this might be a me problem. Because if this guy can find his way to like being joyful, what do I have to complain about? He clearly knows something I don't know about life and how to live it.
Now thinking about what you just said, I think that happened to my cousin's fiance, like during his childhood. I don't remember, but for some reason it was like, you know, when memories just pop back into your head out of nowhere. That kind of just happened. Like, it's like I think because like I don't know what like if he's like what tribe because I think he came from like Africa or India or something. But like I just popped in my mind out of nowhere, and I was like, fuck.
Oh yeah.
I think I remember him talking to my mom about it. She told me when I was like 15. So yeah.
Okay.
But like what but like if you like something I was curious about, you said like you were basically just like you weren't old enough obviously to like even qualify because you were a sophomore. If you like let's say you like faked your age, would you, or like you were actually age of like able to enlist, would you have enlisted back then?
I was raised in a very sort of anti-gun, anti-military, very liberal household. One of my cousins enlisted, and that was like a big controversy. Everyone was really upset. And my brother ended up enlisting eventually. But at that point, I mean, he was, he's about 7 years younger than I am. So, you know, the U.S. was still involved in wars at that point, but it wasn't like he's National Guard. It wasn't like he was going to be in a great amount of danger at that point. But I did find myself
he's
like
11 though.
When 9/11 happened?
Yeah, because like you were like 17, 16. That would mean he was like 11 or 12 years old.
Yeah, so he enlisted when he became 18.
Oh, I thought you meant like when you said that I was confused by like I thought you meant like when he was like 11. Because I was like that seems even before then. That seems like way illegal.
That would be way illegal. No, when he was 18.
Okay,
18,
that makes
19.
way more sense. But
Yeah.
carry on.
Yeah, I just saying it was surprising to me because my family was very anti-military. So for him to join, but by that time, I think my cousin had already sort of like set the precedent, and it wasn't as big a deal because it didn't seem as dangerous when he joined up. But no, I've definitely fallen on like the anti-war side for basically my whole life. Although I got caught up in it as much as anybody at the time. Like I don't know that I knew anybody who didn't think like, well, if like Iraq had something to do with all this, like we need to go over there. Like after it was, I think you'd be hard pressed to find really anybody after 9/11 who wasn't like, well, we got to go bomb something. Because it's also a time before, like now you can like see violence all day, every day if you want to, right? You can just like pick up your phone and you can ask for that from the algorithm or whatever, and you'll get it. You'll get nonstop war, nonstop violence all day, every day.
Turn on the news, you'll see live war probably. Yeah,
but it was different back then, you know, to see like something like 9/11 happen. Just you didn't see a lot of it. It was really rare, and then to see it like on repeat over and over and over and over again. Like I watched the second plane go into the tower on TV at school. Like they wheeled the TV in, and we just sat there and watched it. And then the second plane hit while we were like, you know, all school children just sitting in there in the room, watch it go in. It's crazy. But anyway, I don't know why I got back on that.
No, it's still, I'm just curious, like, how long did the war, like, I mean, obviously you could tell I was barely alive. I was never even close to alive when it happened. But I was wondering, like, how long did the war, like, because you said a lot of friends and family enlisted.
What was the question?
Like, how long did the war last? For as big as it lasted, like, over 20 years at this point over that. It had to have been the big war, like what, or at least the big impact. Like how long was the war of it?
The Iraq War lasted, I don't remember when they officially pulled out, but it was, Afghanistan was like 22 years, I think. And I think Iraq was like 17 or 18 years.
Wow.
I'm not positive, but they went on forever. Afghanistan officially ended in 2022, I think.
Got me. I've heard, obviously I know the details, like I've learned my whole life, but yeah, I didn't know if, like, I'm going to be real, I didn't even know there was a war over it. I just thought it was like, we hate you for this, or, you know, like, hey guys. So, quick editor's note. Yes, I didn't know there was a war, but looking at this, I'm almost at it, and I'm looking at this, and I'm like, yeah, I make it sound like I'm stupid. I stand by it. I didn't really think there was like a war, but I didn't think it was just we hated you. Like, I knew there were the details behind it. Like, obviously there was bombs involved and all that kind of stuff. I understood that. I don't know really anyone cared this much, but I don't want a bunch of angry comments. So I'm just saying, like, even though I didn't know there was a big war, or at least I didn't know they were connected, I'm just saying, I didn't know the reasoning behind all this stuff, why America's basically different 20 years later. Anyways, that's it. I enjoyed the rest of the interview. I don't know if anyone got mad, really, but here's the explanation. See you later. See you next Wednesday. You know what I'm trying to go for, you know?
Oh, yeah. No, we attacked Iraq for the second time after 9/11. Yeah. So 9/11 happened in September, and then in March of the following year, the U.S. invaded Iraq and sent like ground troops in, and then we were there well into my 30s.
You stated there was kind of like a rash of like student suicide. Were those like two connected?
No, that was before.
If I can ask, why did kids want to go? Like, was it just bad home life? Because I think you also mentioned how you wanted to kill yourself when you were younger.
Yeah, you know, I've thought about this a lot. Like, why did so many kids? Because like, along with the kids I knew, like a few kids who I did not know also killed themselves. And the area around my town, like the few towns surrounding my town, became like the suicide capital of New England for a short minute. I don't know. I think it sounds fucked up, but I think it can become like trendy like anything else. I think you can kind of become like a social contagion. Like,
I believe that.
Yeah. So like when somebody does it, now it seems possible. And I think for some people too, like you see everything stops. When a kid kills themselves, everything stops. Everyone comes together. It's a horrible but impactful thing. And then I think part of it for me too was this mixture of like I really hated school. I really hated myself. Just very, very in general like unhappy and also like self-destructive. Like, I don't think someone who's like happy starts like binge drinking when they're 14 years old. Yeah. Like it's, you know, and me and my friends were getting absolutely shit-faced wasted all the time from the time we were like 14. And I think that's part of it too. I think like drugs and alcohol, like when you do that to yourself, I think your sort of mental health will really decline quickly, especially at like a young age. So yeah, I don't know. I've investigated a little bit. Mostly I just try to move on with my life and not spend too much time dwelling back there. I was put on a lot of prescriptions when I was younger, and as I like read about some of them as an adult, like being highly aggressive, being like super angry, suicidal thoughts, like these are like known side effects for like being on some of these drugs long term. And I think I was not alone in being prescribed these drugs. So I think it's also possible that you have this mix of sort of social contagion and everybody's on drugs. Like if everybody in the town was on meth all of a sudden, I think the town would change a lot.
It'd become angrier, lonelier? Like how do you mean?
I mean, I don't know exactly. Just the drugs change people's mindset and how they approach their daily lives. And if everybody's on it, you'd imagine like the culture would shift, right? That something would change with the people. You know, if a culture is like high discipline, high rule following, that's a one culture. If culture of people is drunk all the time. That's a different culture. If people are on opiates all the time. Part of New England was like one of the big centers of the beginning of the opioid epidemic in America. So I was lucky enough that I never liked pain pills. I tried them and just wasn't my thing. But like from the time I was probably 13 years old, like it was easy to get like Percocets or anything like that. Like it wasn't even a question. You could get your hands on like serious opioids, like zero problem, any day of the week, anytime. It was easier to get than weed. It was easier to get than alcohol when you were underage. You could get pain pills.
I still believe with like the way Snapchat's kind of, but not like people like, even though it's not obviously kids, at least you don't hear about it as much. I feel like you could totally, if somebody was selling, they could totally post it on Snapchat and you could find it at your school the next day or something if you really tried still.
Yeah, you think so? Yeah. How do kids, well, one, I get the impression, you tell me, do kids still do a lot of drugs like and drink? Like it seems like drinking's become less popular. That's my impression.
It depends on the person. I personally, I hate this taste. Like, I'm not saying I've never drank. Like, I'll do it like if I'm at a party or what, like a family party or, you know what I mean? I don't smoke. My dad ruined smoking for me 100%. And so, yeah, I'm anti that.
Ruin weed or cigarettes for you?
Cigarettes.
Okay, yeah.
He has smoker lung and yeah, he ruined it for me. But besides that.
Because I guess, yeah, social media would be where you get drugs now, right?
Like, I think, like, if you have the right person, like, you can, Snapchat's based, in my opinion, it can be the dark web, pretty much. Like, if you have the right person, it's, like, it's less, like, sure, there's still, like, people going for it, but it's way sketchy if you really find the right person, you know what I mean?
For a kid your age, if you were looking for drugs, Snapchat's where you'd think to look. Probably,
yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, it's so different. We didn't have anything like that. You know what I mean? Like,
wasn't it like around like wasn't Snapchat around like maybe 2012, early 20s?
I guess so, but I mean, I graduated high school in 2003.
Well, I guess that would be a little different because like you probably didn't at least experiment with that when like kids do,
I was a sophomore in college when I got my first cell phone.
Oh. Yeah, that would explain it.
Yeah. So, and I was a little late to get cell phones, but smartphones weren't a thing when I was in college. We had Facebook and like MySpace and stuff, but that was on a desktop. You couldn't get that on your phone. So yeah, for drugs, you just go talk to the druggies. Like you know how they dressed and what they look like, and you just go over there and talk to the druggies. And it was all word of mouth. If you wanted some drugs, which eventually was just my friends. Like all my friends started dealing drugs by the time I was like finishing up high school.
As a person, like I just said, I don't really do drugs or smoke or whatever. But I was wondering, for alcohol and stuff like that, like I assume it has to taste bad. Like I get like if you're bad, you have like you're basically in the down of your life. Bad I can kind of get because like why not? But like, does it like, people always say it's an acquired taste. Does it ever get good, or is it just more like the effect afterwards?
I love this question. I've thought about this a lot lately, actually, because I was just at a friend's house and his mom had champagne to celebrate something. And I was like, I'll take a sip of it and see. I used to love champagne. And it was disgusting. It was just...
I can never get into beer or anything.
I still like the taste of beer. I'll drink non-alcoholic beers. I really only like a non-alcoholic beer, like... There's something about like being real sweaty, like long hike or like working hard outside, like working on a car or working on my camper or something like that. Like coming in hot, sweaty, and having like even the non-alcoholic beer, that still tastes legit to me. I like that. Yeah. But I used to drink whiskey just neat, which means like no ice, no nothing, just pour whiskey in a cup and drink it.
It's like raw.
Yeah. And yeah, I would say it was good, and I would talk about whiskeys with people and like act all sophisticated about it. I think you're basically right. I think it tastes like absolute shit. I think it's awful.
So it's just the effect afterwards, pretty much.
Yeah, and I think it depends on like who you are and what you are. So like for me, some people get like, I mean, I get sloppy like everyone else. I get like a mess and like drunk and stuff. But I don't get sad. I don't get down. It doesn't calm me down. Like if I feel fucking on top of the world.
That's the one thing that always fascinates me, because like there's different effects for everybody. Like my cousins, like I just like one time I Snapchat him just because I was bored, and they just messaged me back, and I just knew, oh god, he's happy drunk. You could tell he was like kind of or like he's like drunk you know what I mean, kind of, you know.
Yeah. No, that's me 100%. Like I'm stay up all night and still go to work the next day. I'm just like power through it. Like just for when I was young, it was just the happiest I was. I don't remember ever being happy and not being wasted.
Is that good or a bad thing, you think? Because like I'm not judging. This really isn't me judging. I'm actually asking.
Yeah, no. You know, when you're examining the past, I find it impossible to judge things as good or bad. It'd be very bad for me to do it now. I like being responsible. I like being reliable. I want to be available for emergencies, for my kids, for my wife. I want to I don't ever want to be just like unavailable for them. I want them to see me as like here, put together, ready to go, responsible. I do get in between drinking when I was like a bad drunk. I have a horrible temper. Like, so the in-between times, like the balance swings the other way and I become mean. So yeah, it's, you know, I had a lot of fun. I had a lot of great times with people. It was a way of bonding and, you know, I got through it. I could say like I'd be pretty disappointed if like that's the direction my kids' lives went. I hope that they don't ever feel the need, like when they get to that age, I hope they feel like they have things that are like better to live for and strive for and like many more reasons to not be wasted than they have reasons to be wasted. Because I think in my life, the fact that like getting wasted was the best thing I had going on probably spoke to like the choices I was making and so not good in that sense. But it also, that road led me here and I fucking love my life. I talk to a lot of people who are not in happy marriages, who like don't like their kids, who hate what they have to do every day, and I feel extremely blessed. I love my wife like crazy. I fucking love my kids. I think life is like interesting and engaging, and I'm happy I'm here, and I'm happy where I'm at. So like gazing backwards and being like, oh, that was all terrible. That was all bad. You know, I also feel like that young man back then like was responding to like a lot of like shit and hate and pressure. And I also feel like, okay, that young man's had enough. I shouldn't look back and pile on anymore. Like that young man is dead and gone. Let's not kick him anymore. Just leave him. Does that make sense at all?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. I want to come back to that in a little bit, but like, what was your life in college like?
I thought college was pretty easy. The fact that it was like school where like I didn't 100% have to show up to all my classes, and as long as I got through the tests and turned my papers in and they were good, that I was going to be good. Like I really excelled at that. Easy for me. I got really good grades in college. I started pursuing comedy in college and doing like improv comedy. I did some stand-up. Thought that was cool. I loved New York City back then. Loved it. Got wasted all the time, constantly drunk. Like it felt like a party, you know, but I was racking up the debt and I didn't understand that at all. So that all, you know, crashing down on me pretty hard when I finished college. But college itself was just a party.
You mentioned something about like hallucinations.
Yeah. So hallucinations started pretty small. So I've pretty much like, this is always so hard to explain. I'm always squirrely about explaining it too. But I have always heard voices. Like my inner monologue has always been multiple voices. That's as long as I can remember. And I have always, from the time I was very small, felt like I'm being like told to do certain things. And sometimes it's like silly stuff. Like I got to go put my foot on that crack, or like something terrible is going to happen to my family, that kind of stuff. So as I started like drinking and drugging harder and harder, those voices got like louder and multiplied and got meaner and meaner. and they became like extremely paranoid and extremely dark. So when I finished college, it was started like ramping up in college, but like college gives you this bubble and you're living on debt and you're not facing real consequences. When I was out of that all of a sudden and I had all this debt, and also like I graduated, I don't know if you heard of like the great financial crisis.
Yeah, but 2008, I think.
Yeah, so 2007, 2008. I graduated college in 2007 in New York City at the center of the crash. So, yeah. So it seemed like the country was ending, and like it was hard to find work, and like all my friends from college who had just gotten jobs like in finance and everything, everybody got fired like right away. And I had all these habits of like spending too much money and drinking too much and everything like that. And so the paranoid voices, and you know, I got really caught up in like the news and politics, and those voices just became like just all consuming. So that sort of spiral, I think, between like drugs and alcohol and my natural tendency to have these kind of voices. I had sections of my life where I probably went like a whole month, didn't leave my apartment, like just was like afraid to leave my apartment and was like surrounded by trash, you know, all kinds of classic fucking crazy schizo shit. Deeply afraid, super angry, super bitter, just bad stuff. And yeah, that's went on for a while.
There's a movie I saw, like, it was called, like, I think Bathroom, and the words on the bathroom wall, it was about this kid who's, like, it was, like, schizophrenic. He saw these, and obviously, you see things that aren't there, which you just described, but he's, like, seeing these, like, people, like, there's, like, one that's, like, a druggie.
I'm proud of you.
Thanks. And I maintain that this drug won't work either.
I'm proud of you, honey.
But I was secretly hoping he'd prove me wrong.
That's his role, I remember that. But did anything like that, or was it mainly just like voices in your head?
Mine were all auditory. Anything visual would have been like, I guess you'd call it like shadowy or glimpses. Those pieces of paranoia, like you think you see like someone's feet at the door, like underneath the door, right? Or you see someone like walking back and forth, and you like build this whole story in your head of like, oh, they're here for me, or I'm being surrounded, or that kind of thing. But like never full on visual hallucinations where like I am talking to someone who doesn't exist, as far as I know.
Maybe I'm not real. Anyways, but like they were kind of auditory.
Yeah. Yeah, and they just, and mean and intense. Like you can imagine like 4 or 5 people just chewing you out all day long, right?
Yeah.
Just calling you a big piece of shit all day, every day, and you know, basically telling you like anytime now someone's gonna like bust down that door and like drag you away. Or
that literally happened to me at conferences the other day.
Happy what?
I had conferences at my school, and like granted it was my fault, I skipped a lot, but like they were basically I had like, in the beginning it was like 5 people, then every 2 maybe a minute there was like a new person coming in, and I was like, okay, just kick me out at this point, like just get this over.
Oh bro, is this for high school?
Yeah, I'm a senior this year. Like I have like I'm in my last year. I'm on, like, even though I do skip, I do want to pass. I want to make sure I'm out of high school. And that would be really horrible if I just like my last year and then it's like, but you didn't practice one class.
I still have those nightmares. I have like nightmares where I wake up and go like, oh, I didn't actually finish high school. I have to go back.
God, I hate high school.
It's the worst.
Like I get it's better than the real world, but it still sucks.
No, let me tell you, that is the biggest fucking lie being pushed by your fucking teachers who have never done anything but be in school. High school is the worst. It's the worst. The real world is infinitely better than high school. Life, the world, being an adult is better than high school. I promise you. It'll take you a little while to adjust, but they're wrong. It's just something they say to make themselves feel better. Teachers God love him, whatever. One of my best friends in the world teaches elementary school, like elementary, middle, I guess. I think for her it's elementary school. But when I was in school, it was middle school, that age. But anyway, I love her. I know she's trying to do a good thing, and I know like some kids like really need it. Whatever. I'm not going to comment on the whole school system, but any given teacher, for the most part, started in school, went through high school, went right to college, and started teaching right away. They have never existed in the real world. They have never lived outside the school system. There can be no one less qualified to tell you what the world outside of school is like than one of your teachers. They don't know. Their entire life is school.
This might be a little rude, and you could obviously call me out. But I was wondering, with the moments in your head and everything, have you ever had any like blackouts or like crazy stoner moments? You know, like where like you black out and then your friend tells you like, "Oh, you jumped off the roof last night. You were weird."
Oh, I've blacked out a lot.
Do you have any like highlights? Any like big moments that you want, I could use?
I woke up naked in some dorm room at a different school. And, had some of the night explained to me. I woke up places and not know how I got there. I don't know, probably 30, 40 times in my life. I was a serious alcoholic.
Yeah.
Like when I tried to quit drinking the first time, I didn't know that it was so dangerous to just like go cold turkey. And I tried to cold turkey in New York, and that I had visual hallucinations. I sat in my bathroom for about a week, just like shaking and shitting and crying and sweating and hallucinating. It was the worst goddamn week of my life. I call them like delirium tremors. Yeah, I was bad drunk. So I blacked out a lot.
I feel like I'm worse than because I remember one time I was told I woke up in the morning. I woke up at like maybe it was like maybe a year and a half ago at my old job, like my first job. And I remember I called my boss and I FaceTimed her like 3 a.m. and she was pissed at me. And I swear I don't have memory of that. And I went to work. I'm glad she wasn't at work because I would have been like, I'm not scared. I know she's not obviously gonna hit me or anything, but I was scared for some reason. And then I got a text in the group chat saying like, you know, why the fuck did she call me?
Did you get fired? Or
no, I quit like a few months after that, but still, it was just, I don't know. It's okay. Obviously now looking back, that was kind of funny. And I just thought I'd mention it when you mentioned that, but I just thought, what the fuck happened?
Yeah. Yeah. You do a lot of crazy shit when you're drunk. It is funny.
I wasn't even one of those. I was stone sober.
You did that sober?
I was like 15, 16 years old.
Well, I mean, I just told you I would have been drunk.
That's why I said I think that's worse.
Wait, so you called your boss at 3 a.m. sober for what?
I don't know. I remember it was like I woke up. It was like 7 or 8 in the morning, maybe 10. It was like a weekend or something. I just know like it was like the next day. I know like that the day I'm talking about when I called her, apparently like 3 a.m, something like that. I called, I FaceTimed her. It was, you know, and then like, I don't know if I butt dialed her in my sleep, but goddamn, I called her like 3 times both ways.
3 times? Did you talk to her?
No, but I just know, I just know the next day I went to work, I walked in and I was like, just trying to lay low because I knew that was going to be really awkward if I did see her or something. And then a coworker of mine, they were like, and the guy was kind of like the head, but not the head. He like, oh, why the fuck did you call Kate? I don't have any more. I was like blackout. I was blackout in that moment. Like I swear I have no more memory of like the behind, besides waking up. But like, god damn, that was embarrassing.
Crazy. Well, you want to hear some fucked up blackout stuff? You got me loosening it up now, so I'll tell you all.
Sure, why
stuff.
not?
From when I was really young, I would sleepwalk a lot, and then when I got older, oh yeah, fun, right? So for me, it advanced into night terrors when I was older. And for anyone who doesn't know, like for a night terror, so most of the time when you fall asleep, you get like what's called sleep paralysis, where like you actually like, no matter how much you're dreaming and everything like that, like your body is like rigidly kind of like stuck, right? Maybe your fingers move, your toes move, but you don't move at all. If you have night terrors, you can end up acting out your dreams in the real world while you're still asleep.
Is that dangerous to wake up a night sleeper or something?
Oh, to make a sleepwalker? I think that's probably stupid. I don't know. I've heard that too, but yeah. But the night terrors for me were really dangerous. I've like seriously injured myself. So I'd have this recurring one for years where I would like wake up, right? I'm still asleep, but I wake up, I'd be on some sort of like damp concrete. And so I could like, it's so vivid. Like I could like smell the concrete and like the moisture in the air and like feel the sort of dampness. And then I start like get some clarity of vision and I see like sidewalk and it's like kind of dark, but there's like some street lights and I realize like I'm in an alley and I see a dumpster and then I look up and there's a 16-wheeler like bearing down.
You're in an alley?
Yeah.
Jesus.
Well, this is the dream, right? And there's a 16-wheeler bearing down on me. I see the 16-wheeler and I scramble up and I try to dive out of the way. Like I know it's too late. Like I know like my legs are going to get crushed by this thing, but I dive out of the way. But in real life, I scramble up and I just launch myself into space. And this happened 7 or 8 times for real in my life. Same dream, same situation. So one of them, I lived in what's called a railroad apartment in New York. Do you know what those are?
Well, yeah, of course I know what a railroad is.
No, a railroad apartment.
Oh, I didn't hear the railroad. I didn't hear the apartment part. No, I don't know what that is.
So a railroad apartment is like when you enter the apartment, you're like in like maybe like the living room or the kitchen, right? And then like the next room's the living room, and then the next room's a bedroom, and then like the next room's a bedroom. But they're all in one line. So to get from like the back bedroom to the kitchen, you have to go through every single room. It's a house on a straight line like a railroad. And so not every room has windows. So I had this bedroom that was just like this tiny little box that's like crammed between all these other rooms. And I have a bunk bed, like a lofted up bed in there so I could fit anything else in there. And there's a big mirror hung on the wall that was there when I moved in. Oh, it's like my dog's hitting my microphone. Lay down, Sam.
No problem.
Good boy. So this dream happens and I jump off the bed straight into the mirror. So I just crash my whole body into it and I wake up just standing in shattered glass with like a 3-inch shard of it just sticking out of my hand. I still have the scar, just stabbed in my hand. I'm just bleeding all over and I have this giant like piece of glass I have to like rip out of my hand, like from this fucking dream. Like,
yikes.
Yeah, it's no fun.
But anyway, but like if you want to get to the next one, like you said something about like you were gonna die at 28.
Oh yeah, from the time I was small, there was like this meme. I when I was real little, I wanted to be a musician, and you know, like this thing for the longest time that like all the great musicians die when they were 27. So I like in my sort of narcissistic delusion thought that was going to be me. And I never became a famous musician, but I still thought I was going to die when I was 27. That like that's just like the window I had to get it done, and whether I succeeded or not, I was going to die. So
was that because of your leg and everything that kind of like put the thing exactly that's what was going to happen?
So no, I believed all that, and then as I approached my 28th birthday, so I'm finishing the window of 27, right? Yeah. I've left New York City. I've met my now wife. I'm out. She's finishing college out in Washington State. I'm out there. I've got an apartment near her college. I'm living there so we can like keep our relationship going. But I barely know anybody. And there is a school break around my birthday. So she's got plans to go back home. Everyone's gone. Yeah. Like this town empties, right? And I don't know anybody. And just before she leaves, I drunkenly, obviously, still jump on some fucking skateboard. And which when I was younger, I could skateboard a bit. It had been a long time and I was drunk. So I jump on it and I fall off immediately, land on my head. right? And it hurts and it bruises, but I'm like, whatever. And I'm at this point, I'm like just losing it because like I am a few days away from turning 28, and I'm just like, something's gonna get me, something's gonna get me, something's gonna get me. And now I'm like alone in this apartment. My wife Harper, she leaves, everyone leaves, and where I hit my hip, it turns black and it just starts creeping down my leg until like my whole, like from my hip down to my right knee, all around just turns black.
Does it hurt?
Yeah. Like, I mean, the hip hurt. The rest of the black didn't hurt. It's going down, and I am like so paranoid and freaked out. I don't go to the doctor. I don't go to anybody. I don't have any money. I just lay there, and it's like, this is like in the days leading up to my 28th birthday. So I have hours left, and my leg is just turning black. And, you know, like I have all these paranoid fucking delusions anyway, and that this idea has been with me since I was a small child that I was going to die when I was 27. Yeah, so I'm freaking out and, you know, fighting with Harper on the phone and everything like that as my leg just keeps turning blacker and blacker and blacker. And then, you know, I go to bed the night before my birthday with this, like, stuck on this couch in fucking Washington where I don't know anybody, with my leg black halfway down. Then I wake up and, like, I'm like, it was the first one of my big delusions where I'm like, there's no arguing with this. I'm wrong. Like, I'm 28. I'm wrong.
Were you happy?
Happy is not the word. I think when you're really paranoid, I think if you have a really paranoid brain, one of the things that's like that your brain will cleverly do is have all your paranoias rooted in things that are really hard to completely disprove. And I think you secretly really want to just know for a fact that one of your paranoias is deeply wrong. And I think that's like the first brick, I don't know the great metaphor for it, the first brick in the road or whatever of unraveling your paranoias.
Yeah.
Because ultimately to stop being paranoid, you have to start having some humility and a really good appreciation of like how little you can predict and how little you know and how little information you have and how much of your life is like a mystery and what's coming is a mystery. And so for me, having, you know, for the longest time, the idea I was going to die when I was 27 was so far away that it was unprovable. But that clock ticking over, even with this bad injury, like was undeniable proof that this giant paranoia, like where I was like positive for like my whole life, that it was absolutely incorrect. No two ways about it. So now I have the choice to like be like a doomsday religion and like rewrite the prediction and like say, oh, I got new information and it's been pushed off for some fucking reason, or to go like, no, I'm wrong. I'm obviously wrong. And if I'm wrong about this, I might be wrong about like a lot, like a lot. And thankfully, for whatever reason, I think that was like the beginning of me like running with that. Like I'm just wrong. I'm wrong about a lot. And this is around the time I stopped talking to my family. Like, I think I told you, like, you know, I'd wanted to kill myself, like, since I was like 13 years old. I'm going to contradict a lot of what I just said. I guess I kind of decided, like, you know what? I'm going to decide that it was right, and I'm going to turn it into a positive thing. I did die. This guy, this life I've been living up to right now, that guy's dead. Like, he's dead. Like, we're waking up, new man, we're starting over.
Does that kind of go into changing your name? I think you told me something about that.
Yeah, it did. Yep. So I changed my name and I just decided, like, you know, actually taking your own life there's so many things you can do instead of taking your own life. And I think, like, ultimately if you take your own life, it's like a failure to imagine oh, you gone?
Oh no, I just was grabbing my glasses. My eyes are kind of hurting.
Oh, it's okay.
I'm still here though.
Okay. Yeah, it's a failure to imagine the range of possibilities that are available to you. Like, because you could just pick up all your shit and leave everybody behind and like go start over, you know, and a lot of stuff in between. That's what I did. Seems to have worked out because, like, I I stopped kind of like making all my decisions like a progression from before that point. And I was like, well, it doesn't matter what that guy would do. Like, what do I want to do? Like, what do I think is a good idea now? So like, that got me like looking into different philosophies of life, different belief systems of life, different mindset systems of life, different ways to earn a living, different ways to view myself in the world, different ways to view the people around me, to view the world. And, you know, it still takes a long time to like build on all that. And obviously I was still day one of being 28 and the last day of being 27, I was still pretty similar. I think over time sort of allowed me to be more on the lookout for places where I could like make new decisions, make changes, start to kind of like not be like held hostage to that past and start trying different things, which was messy in its own way. And I still made tons of like bad judgment calls and mistakes and things like that. But I don't know, I guess I had more grace for myself to like not let that define me forever and just like quickly try to look for a better choice, better option. And, you know, whatever this is now, it's led me to here. And at this point, like, I feel like I'm a person who like shows up for the people I care about and like stays true to my word. And that was not me for a long time. And it's like a much nicer person to be.
You and Harper, I think one of you meant like, or both of you for that matter, I think you guys talked about like how you guys were in the beginning, you guys were met on like a dating app or something, and like that's like what the like that's kind of how you guys met, you know, and that like you were only supposed to be like a short thing for like that summer, but like what besides that, because like you obviously made it pretty long, like what's that relationship and like from like basically dating to like marriage, I'm assuming.
Yeah, I signed up for a site called OkCupid, and she was my first ever online date. I'm from a generation where at that time online dating was still like weird, and like it was not normal to meet people online that you would date, and it was like considered sort of like skeevy weird. But I had just been dating exclusively inside like the comedy community that I was a part of. One day I walked into the theater I worked at and I saw like 5 girls I had dated all talking to each other. And I was like, yeah, this is not good. Like, I got to expand the pool. And so I signed up to online dating, and Harper was, in my estimation, like she's 6 years younger than I am. And that was like, I dated almost exclusively like, I had dated one girl who was 1 year younger than me, a little less than 1 year younger than me. And other than that, I had dated girls who were my age or older. I had never dated anybody younger than me like that. But I thought, you know, I'm looking for new things, whatever. I'll go on a online date. She's only here for the summer. Whatever. Ha ha ha. Because yeah, ended up being my wife. But we got pretty hot and heavy pretty quick. Really fell for each other. And then at the end of the summer, she needed to go back to school. And I think it was, I can't remember if it was shortly before I met her or during the summer where I had met her. I had been looking to try mushrooms for like a few years, and they were like surprisingly hard to get in New York City at that time.
Really, that'd be pretty
Like,
easy.
You'd think so. You could get cocaine. I've never done cocaine, but you could get it easy. You could get any kind of pill. You could get weed. You could get anything. But I hung out with fucking like hippies and comedians and theater people. You'd think it'd be easy, but no, like it was so hard to get mushrooms.
I've never been to New York, but I just feel like it's kind of like it just has a highlight sign, hippie, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Yep. You know, I think mushrooms were more of a West Coast thing. Like, I think more of a California thing. Yeah, weed and like party drugs like that. Like, you could get acid in New York, but whatever. I for whatever reason, I couldn't get them. And one night around the time that I met my wife, my comedy partner at the time, I was sitting drinking at this bar, and he came in like 10 o'clock at night, and he just slapped down a bag on the bar. And I looked down at it, and I was like, oh my God, is that what I think it is? And he's like, yeah. He's like, they're my gift to you if we do them right now. I was like, bet, let's go. Like, here we go. So we took those. We had another couple of drinks, and we started just like wandering the city. And you probably don't, I assume, yeah, you just said you don't know New York City at all. But we're in Manhattan. We're down around 28th Street. And I think it's every 20 blocks if you're going, it's not actually north-south, but for the purposes of this, let's call it north-south. If you're going up and down the island, every 20 blocks is a mile. So I lived up on 152nd Street. Mm-hmm. So we take the mushrooms, we wait for them to start to kick in, we start walking, and we start like kind of meandering up toward Times Square, which is like 42nd Street. So like maybe 3/4 of a mile away. It's cool, all lights, and it's later at night now.
Yeah.
By the time all this stuff kicks in and stuff like that, it's like midnight, whatever. So it's a weekday, so it's quiet up there, and Times Square is kind of cool weekdays at night because it's a big light show still, but there's not that many people there. They had this cool billboard at the time that would like capture video image of you, so you'd look up and you were all of a sudden like a small person on the billboard. Mm-hmm. And then like these giant models on the billboard would like pick you up and like move you around on the billboard in Times Square. And like being fucking high on mushrooms and having that happen was pretty fun and neat. And up to this point, it's just a fun time. And I didn't really know what mushrooms were like because I'd never taken them before. And then we keep walking up a little bit, and about 10 more blocks up, we see sort of like flashing lights, sirens, that kind of stuff. Like not blaring sirens, just there's a big emergency something happening down there. And I'm like, let's go check it out. And my comedy partner's like, no. I'm like, what? I can see like they got it roped off. I can tell where we're allowed to go up to.
If I can ask, how does it tie into you and Harper? No, not that I'm enjoying, not that I'm not enjoying the story or anything. I'm just curious.
Yeah, so I'm almost there. If you'll indulge me for a second.
Sure, why not? Yeah.
Yeah, right. So I walk up to this thing, and I see that there's a sheet on a dead body. There's blood, and there's like an arm hanging out of the sheet. And someone has jumped off this hotel and killed themselves. And I'm tripping on mushrooms for the first time, and I'm staring at this dead body. And like all of a sudden I hear my comedy partner like, Max. So I turn around, like a snap out of it, I turn around and I run almost like smack dab into like what is clearly like one of these person's loved ones. They're being escorted out by the police, and we almost run into each other, and she's just sobbing, and we like lock eyes. And I have this like sudden realization that like, that's going to be me. If I stay in this city, that's me. We keep walking down, and there's like so much tension as we round the corner. It sounds fucked up, but we round the corner and we both just start laughing. Just laughing like in this like just like release of tension way. And the rest of the night is probably like the best night I had of my life up to there. We walk all the way home. So we walk all the way to 152nd Street. We walk through Central Park at night, everything like that. And I think I had already met Harper at this point. And in that whole thing, I decided like, I am done with New York. Like I'm done with this whole thing. I'm done with all this stuff. And so when it was time for Harper to go back to school, I was like, I'm going to move back to New Hampshire for a little bit, and we can do long distance while I get my stuff together. But then I'd like to come out and see what this is. I'd like to like move to Washington, which I had never been. Like, I think I had driven as far west as like Kentucky for like 20 minutes once. But other than that, I had been like down to like Georgia, and that's as far west as I had ever been. And so when she left, like, we seemed to have a good thing going, and I had this mushroom trip that I was like, oh, that's it. I'm done with fucking New York. And so I yeah, I just bounced, and then I moved out there, and then yeah, we did like a commitment ceremony soon after that, which is not exactly a marriage, but for us it was like pretty close. We've just been joined at the hip since then. We're extremely close. I know you talked to her about our work because we started doing these like online adult cam shows together.
Yeah.
Playing music and doing a variety show and things like that. So that was a whole crazy thing. And now we're actually married and we have a beautiful family, and it's wild. I feel super lucky. She's I don't know. It sounds. I'm not sure how it sounds. Doesn't matter. I don't necessarily believe that everybody has a person, that everybody has a soulmate, but I very much believe that I do, and that I found her. Yeah. I think it really matters what you believe in. I think faith is inescapable. I think no one really knows what's going on, so all you really have is faith. And where you place your faith won't tell you exactly where you're going to end up, but you'll know the neighborhood that you're going to end up in, like based on what you believe. And the neighborhood's going to look a lot like your beliefs. So if you believe in like hope and goodness and honesty and honor and decency, your world's gonna, on the whole, look like that. And if you believe in degrading and deceit and cynicism and hate, like your world is gonna look like that.
Harper, you kind of going like what I think you mentioned a little bit, like you do videos online. You used to do a little bit of OnlyFans, and like we're kind of running out of time, so we don't have like a lot of time to really talk about. But I was just wondering, like, if you could like sum it up a little bit, like how did you get into that?
Yeah, so we started doing it before anybody heard of it, you know. So for us, it was before like Twitch existed, before you could stream on YouTube, before anything like that. The first places you could really like live stream like freely and do what you wanted was like these adult campsites. So I had found them and was just like desperate for some kind of work, and I thought I was going to try it, and I chickened out and didn't do it. I was just going to do it on my own. And then Harper decided several months later that she wanted to give it a try, and I was pretty dead set against it at first. And she really wanted to try it, and then me and her and another one of our friends decided to like, okay, like, well, we'll all try this thing together then, and then that led to us finding like another site where we could like do more of whatever we wanted, and that became this sort of like sex variety show thing that we did. And that's like, I guess 12 or 13 years ago now.
Yeah, I saw like I was gonna say originally, like I saw the website it was on and everything. And like, of course, you don't really I don't think you made the website, but like you could tell it was like kind of old.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's really old, and that led to us just hearing about like other ways. So then Harper and I moved into our van and started doing this thing called war driving, where you like walk around with a high-powered or drive around with a high-powered antenna for Wi-Fi. And you just find people with like open Wi-Fi networks, and you jack their Wi-Fi so that you could do your pirate broadcast. So we were around the country and we did that for a long time and just like pieced together a living. And then we heard that you can make some money like shooting videos. So we started doing that to keep our heads above water, and people started stealing the videos and publishing them online, and they went super viral. And because that happened, the live show started doing better. And then at some point we decided like we were making more money when Harper did the live show on her own. So I started writing and shooting the videos and editing the videos and doing that kind of stuff. And I appeared in all the videos too. And then Harper would do the live shows on her own. And then eventually, for us, it's weird that OnlyFans is so famous, because for us, it was just like it was like the 10th service we signed up for. It was just like another thing in our industry that came to be, and you're like, and we just would always sign up for the next one because it's just another place. Like we were like a little bit famous inside this world, so when we sign up for something, it's usually draws a new income, so we just sign up. And now it's like this meme like that it's this thing, which is fucking crazy because everything else we've ever done, no one's ever heard of. So yeah, we signed up for that, and that has paid the bills. And now we made the feature film. We made Cops versus Horrors, the animated movie, and so we are slowly trying to build that out and work that direction and start finding new things to do, because now we're parents and everything like that, and sooner or later we're going to have to find another way to make money, which is chill. It's been a wild ride.
Not that, like, obviously it's, I feel like it's rude to ask about, like, how much you're making, but, like, how much do you make, you know, like, back, like, or are you, because you said, are you still making that money?
Oh yeah. Yep. We're not rich. We do all right. We can afford to live in a pretty nice area, and we can afford our kids and our pets and everything like that. So it's, I mean, for our own resumes, it's a lot more money than we can make doing anything else.
Would you put Cops versus Horrors on your resume?
I'd have to, right? It's like, I mean, my resume at this point is jobs I had 13 years ago and fucking porn and Cops versus Horrors.
But that's kind of what I meant. Like, because I didn't know if let's say you got like a job at, like, you know, a business intern. I just imagine, like, you know, like, I'm not making fun. I really am not. But, like, I just mentioned, like, you pull it up, you send it over and say, it says here for a year and a couple of years now, you stick it in the hole. What does that mean?
Yeah. No, if it all falls apart, I have to get a real job, I'm pretty fucked. But that, you know, that means
there's always jobs online or something, like, you know, you could always be an editor for that. I mean, or like a animator or something like that.
Yeah, I don't know. I'll figure it out. Like,
yeah,
I have friends. I don't feel like I'm owed anything. Like, I'm not above, like, swinging a fucking hammer, mopping a fucking floor. It's, you know, I think I was sort of like very arrogant about that when I was younger, but now that I'm older, and like, all that matters is I can put food in my kid's mouth, and other than that, as long as I can accomplish that, it's fucking fine. Whatever, I'll do what I gotta do.
Yeah.
Like, and right now I still have a bunch of opportunity. Like, it's I am nothing if not a survivor.
Aren't we all, brother? But basically, that was all my questions. Thank you for giving up about 2 hours of your time. It was cool having you.
It was great to have you. Well, it's great to be here. I'm looking to start my own thing pretty soon, so I hope you'll come and let me flip the tables on you and interview you a bit. Yeah,
of course. Yeah. Other than your thing, I have this thing where you get, if you've seen any of my stuff, I get my guests 15 seconds to share out whatever. You know what I'm kind of going for?
Yeah.
When I say go, you get 15 seconds to share this all out. Whatever you want, website, social, whatever.
Okay.
3, 2, go.
All right, if you made it this far, then let's be honest, you like me a little bit. I would love for you to check out my movie, Cops versus Horrors. It's an animated film I made with my wife and my best friend. You can watch it at copsversushorrors.com. You just go over there, and pretty soon you'll be able to stream it.
All right, well, thank you guys for checking this out. Subscribe and buy his movie. I'll put that down in the description. And yeah, if you ever before I go, I just want to say, if you ever want to come on, I'd love to go on yours. But if you ever want to come back on mine or chat or what the fuck, I don't give a crap. Hit me back up, man. You know how to find me.
Right up, brother.
All right.